Yeah, what's going on? It's your boy Art Taylor, Taylor 2 Coaching. I'm back with another aspect video. This time I wanted to do a conjunction. Moon conjunct Mercury. So it's just that placement. We're not talking about Saturn or Pluto hanging out around it or any other hard aspects. The conjunction, you're talking about from 0 to 10 degrees. I like it to be between like 0 and 5 or 0 and 7, because it's like these two planets in the same room having a conversation. What are they saying, right? So, you know, the moon, it's your mother, you're nurturing, you're caring, but it's your feelings, your emotions, right? How your mind emotionally responds, okay? And, it's hot. It's getting hot in here. And it's how we react, right? It's like your soul, your breath, it's so deep, it's intuitive. Mercury, the chord gesture, 88 days, this is your logical, this is thought, right? It's your logical, critical mind. How you think, how you identify things, how you express yourself. You know, oh, there's the shoes, there's my cousin, there's mom, there's dad, right? So a lot of this, when it's in your natal birth chart, right? And that's what this is, the aspects in the natal birth chart. This is sort of, you know, as you, the energy that you chose to have when you were born, that you needed to deal with your atmosphere, right? Your family. So whether this is more emotional and water, you know, or kind of the groundedness of Earth, you know, it'd be nice if it was Taurus, right? And air could be a little bit more like flighty and flaky, and fire can be more intense and passionate. It can change over time, and you can change it. Because the moon is very important, but when they're together, Mercury kind of confuses it in the sense that you might not know the difference in terms of what you're thinking or learning compared to what you're feeling, right? Mercury starts to kind of take over the moon. Now the moon's switching every 2.5 days, but Mercury is just like, you know, the moon exalted in Taurus, home in Cancer, Mercury at home in Gemini and Virgo, and exalted in Aquarius, and, you know, in Vedic exalted in Virgo. So it's very different, right? How you come to a subjective viewpoint of something, right? You might learn something, but how you feel about it could be different from what you're hearing from others, what you're reading, what your input is, right? Remember, the moon's very instinctual. So your intuition could say, that's wrong. I don't agree with that. But Mercury could be bringing in all this other BS and information that's like, you know, contradicting that. And so then, I don't want to say it's paradoxical, but you can have sort of this sort of back and forth, because having this is kind of what you might have needed to survive, right? In a very passionate, you know, and dramatic family in Leo, or a very impulsive family in Aries, or a very intense emotionally in family in Scorpio, or very chill and prudent, practical family in Taurus. So when you were growing up, there was this, maybe a little analytical and critical family in Virgo. The moon conjunct Mercury has you trying to analyze what you might already know or what you intuitively feel. So then you wind up kind of second guessing yourself and having trouble with sort of identifying or ascertaining like your true internal thoughts. Now remember, conjunctions are not always positive energy. It depends on the two planets. It depends on what's aspecting it. This conjunction could be squaring Uranus or Neptune or Pluto, or sextiling or trining Saturn, or just so many different things. But just moon conjunct Mercury, you could be thinking and learning things to protect your emotions and your feelings, right? Because the moon wants to be comfortable, right? It's your roots, it's your mom, nurturing, caring, your ancestors. So this is your safety and security, right? The crab wants to trust. It moves sideways. It's like, I gotta peep this out, right? Where Mercury's just like, hey, what are you doing over there? And hey, what's going on over here? And it's analyzing and assessing. And the moon is kind of emoting and feeling. It's not necessarily easy, but displacement is something that when you're born, if you have this, it's a tool or a guide to interpret your surroundings, that when you get past the Saturn returns or get past the maturity of Mars, somewhere between, the cerebral cortex is still forming between, 25 and 28 for women, and for men, we mature. You heard it here, I'm into it. Eric Taylor 2 Coaching, Big 3 Astrology. We mature slower than women. It's science, it's God, okay? So it's more like 28 to 31, 32 for men. So there comes a point where you, even in this conjunction, you can, kind of compartmentalize and be like, even though I'm thinking this, it's okay for me to feel this way, right? You could think the sky is blue, but you feel like it's silver or gray. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the best analogy, but there's a difference. And so I think sometimes as we start to get away from Mother Source and we start to go to school and have jobs and communicate with others, our processing of our emotions and feelings is different, right? So if you're a parent, you'll see it like with your children, right? Children will emotionally act and behave a certain way at home than they do in school or outside at friends' houses. Because at home, there's that safety and security. So they can express and communicate differently because there's this safety net and trust when they're around family or mom and dad. When you, not like it's stranger danger, but when you're around your peers or your friends, you should, but you intuitively might react differently and feel differently because you have to learn your environment and surroundings. And so this is a challenge that plays out, and some people, they can struggle with this because, you know, even though the moon is kind of more powerful than Mercury, the Mercury can mislead the moon and take charge. And if that happens out at friend's house or in public or in different places, you know, it could get too assertive, too emotional, right? And then you have to deal with consequences or judgments, you know, that can be hurtful, harmful, or just, you know, whatever, from the outside world. So it's really deep. It's fascinating. You have to kind of, you know, you can look back on your life, and this is why I would say, right, keep a dream book and do some journaling, write letters, you know, to your younger self, because then you can really start to understand. And a lot of these people, they can speak fast. They can react quickly without thinking, right? You might like notice that. They can have because it's the same. It's not the same tool, but think about your moon is your mind's reactions to things, and the Mercury is your sort of data entry, right? How you're learning and assessing and analyzing and bringing things, you know what I mean? And your work, right? What you do, you plan, you structure, you detail, right? And so being logical, critical, analytical, where the moon is reacting, but it's not from logic. It's from safety, security, emotion. So it's very reactive. So that can be a challenge, especially depending on what house this is in and what sign. And you look at the house and the sign, and this is why you hit me up, tailored2coaching@gmail.com, to get your birth chart done. Because the sign and the house tell the story of this relationship and how you will process language and feelings and thoughts, and even how you disengage or protect, or how you engage others and project, you know, how you dispense your language. So it's fascinating, you know. It can be more detached and cold in Aquarius, more stubborn in Taurus, but very calm and chill maybe, you know. And Gemini can just be quick-witted and more, I don't want to say flighty, but not caring as much, right? And Cancer, it could be very sensitive. Scorpio, very intense with emotions and more vague or private or secretive. Do you know what I mean? But very like psychic and empathic. And Pisces, it can be very, you know, other realms and spiritual realms, very visual concepts. And sometimes it is really only dealing out of an intuitive sensibility, you know. So this is an interesting placement, you know. And like I say in astrology, man, it's not about like good or bad. It's about learning how to handle these energies, and for you trying to master them. You know, there's times where I find I have a Virgo Mercury, you know, but I find that you have to, sometimes get in charge of your Mercury and calm it down and control it and understand how you think and analyze and assess, and that depends on the house and the sign placement. Astrology is no joke. It's very complex. So Moon conjunct Mercury, I thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you, as you mature at 25 to 32 range, you'll start to see how you can analyze your own emotions and concepts of what you perceive as the right response. What's emotional securities? What's the difference between feeling and thought? Right? You might think someone's cheating on you, but you might feel like you love them. How do we deal with these things? This is, what getting a birth chart done, can help you in terms of the psychological work of trying to understand self in a very complex, high vibration way, because it's not easy to, and the house tells you the story of how you react, how you emote, right? In Libra, there's this peace, not rocking the boat, taking both sides, being very balanced, harmonious, Each sign kind of plays this story out differently. And from one sign to the other, Mercury might be like leading the charge, and in other signs, Moon, might be more about your feelings. You don't care about what input and what people say and what you're hearing. You're gonna go from that root chakra and be very instinctual and be like, no, I don't care what they say, I feel this, right? And that would be more so of the water signs, It depends on the earth sign, and the fire too. The air, they're gonna go more with the Mercury, all right? So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Hit me up. All my, everything's down below in the description. Join my Patreon family. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, my groups, Twitter, Taylor2C and at Big 3 Astrology. Hit me up. My services are changing July 1st. And, happy Father's Day out there. To all the dads. I'm a proud father. And I always shout out, rhymes up for Pops, The Moon conjunct Mercury. The emotions you see, sometimes complex in thought, deeper than poetry. More than Shakespeare, the feelings are so near and dear. Are you up out of here? Changing the energy field. Words sometimes are not clear. Don't exist in fear. Lead from the heart. Moon conjunct Mercury. I salute you from the start. Eric Taylor, Taylor 2 Coaching. Peace.